And I think a lot of the independent news organizations are doing a really, really good job. So we can't say that journalism is bad in India overall. And there's a lot more self-censorship, especially if you work independently, because you don't have a big media company backing you. So things have changed, and I think our own press freedom index and so on talks about India is in its ranking. So definitely there's a change. Hi, this is Soumya Ashok. I'm a journalist and the author of The Dig, Keezhadi and the Politics of India's Past. I have a session tomorrow at KLF and I'm super excited. It's been really lovely to be in the fest and I'm very happy to be at KLF Apostrophes.
Say, as a journalist, this must be a tiring phase actually, in the sense that when independent journalism has many challenges to face. Factual journalism it may be, but nobody wants facts, nobody wants unbiased news. So how you evaluate the media situation in India right now?
It isn't ideal for sure, but that doesn't mean good journalism is lacking in any way. And I think a lot of the independent news organizations are doing a really, really good job. So we can't say that journalism is bad in India overall. That if you are really interested in good journalism, there are places that you can go and access it. And I think it's important for everybody to access factual, unbiased, sort of reporting that comes from a place of rational thinking and critical thinking. So, and that is very much alive in small pockets, but maybe not widespread at the moment.
Does in the media independence or freedom of media, do you think that it is challenged right now?
Definitely. I think even in my own career, and I've worked for about 14 years now in various newspapers, I do see changes. There's a lot more pressure on what one can write. And there's a lot more self-censorship, especially if you work independently because you don't have a big media company backing you. So things have changed, and I think our own press freedom index and so on talks about how low India is in its ranking. So definitely there's a change.
And it's not just in India also. We can see American president mocking every now and then one journalist or other, either by the looks of her or either by the brand of that media house. So globally, media is a headache for everybody. How can we change this? Responsible media should be there to keep up the democracy, to ensure that there is a healthy debate on topics.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the readers. Many of the models that are working now are subscription based, that I feel a responsibility that I need to pay for good news to access the right kind of information. So all is not lost in that sense. If people think it's important to access the right kind of information, there is a way to get past this challenging phase. It's true that across the world this is an issue, but I do feel like there are enough people, and there are many people who've come to the KLF itself who will sort of, subscribe to the right kind of information and right kind of media.
What prompted you to write a book?
I was fascinated by these excavations. It's a specific site called Keezhadi, or Keezhadi if you say it in Tamil, which is close to Madurai. And it was a very interesting story because not only was it an incredible archaeological discovery, it became really controversial because politicians got in to the space, and it became a political tool for them to fight back what is a dominant narrative from the north as to what is Indian history. So I was trying to understand this, and in the process I got very fascinated with what we think of as our origin stories, right? Each of us have a notion of where did we come from, and so it was interesting to me to try and map how are the different ways in which we all think of ourselves.
Okay, and can you just tell me more about the book?
So the book is more like a travelogue. So I am the narrator in a way. So I take you to this very controversial site. I speak to a lot of archaeologists. I speak to laborers. I speak to historians, school teachers, and so on who have an interpretation of the site. But I use the site of Keezhadi as a stepping stone to tell a larger story. So I also go to Rakhigarhi in Haryana. I go to an archaeology department in Pune in the Deccan College. I come to Kerala to Pattanam, what was seen as part of the Muziris port. I also go to other parts of Tamil Nadu and look at findings which are of Iron Age and so on. So everywhere I am leading the reader to come and seek answers with me as to what is our story of the past.
As you said, as on this incident, this particular site also, archaeology, history are two two topics that now can make a controversy or can break a controversy.
Yeah.
Archaeological archaeology findings will create a controversy,
Yeah.
or will settle one controversy according to the person who sees that.
Yeah.
So we are the site. And so is the history. History rewriting, history being rewritten and history being retold is an issue. Is an issue. It is political issue. It's an economical issue. It's a social issue.
Yeah.
So when you did this all these travels and did the dig for your book, how you feel the burden of these two?
It was definitely challenging. I think we're living in a country where we have very, very, strict versions of who we are, especially whether we come from the south or the north or the east or the west. Everyone feels very strongly about who we are. And those definitions haven't changed in a while. One of the major issues is we're not talking to each other as much. And for me, this book was to go and speak to as many people to get the diversity of voices, to understand that the story is not an easy story to tell, but nor is it a story that only one person can tell. It is a story that's a collective story of the entire subcontinent, and it is important to understand it in all its diversity. So the challenge was in trying to get as many voices, and also I don't offer the reader a solution to any of this because it is a complex situation, and with archaeology, it takes time for results to come. So we still don't know the full story. So this is just one piece of the larger puzzle we're trying to figure out. So,
can we expect more books from you?
Expect more books from me? Well, I hope so. I have a couple of ideas, but it's too soon.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thanks.